Hello everyone and welcome to another The Phone Update video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Sony Ericsson Xperia X10 Mini Pro, which has got to be some kind of record for one of the longest and most pointless names for a phone I've ever heard. I mean, they could have just called it the Xperia Mini Pro, which they did. In the newer version of this they dropped the X10, which is fair enough. But anyway, on with today's review. So this is the phone itself. I'll turn the light on here just to give you a better look at it. You've got the three standard Android buttons here. You've got back, home and menu. You have a volume rocker on the side here, which is very small but more than easy enough to press. A dedicated camera button with half press for autofocus. On the back here I've got a custom red cover for mine. You have a 5 megapixel camera on the back, which cannot do HD videos, but it does do rather impressive video for a phone of this size, I would say. You also have a flash there, which is lacking on quite a few mid to low range handsets today. You have a micro USB port, which is nice to see, because Sony were notorious for having custom connectors on their phones, so it's nice that when they joined the Android standard connector. Because as this is the Pro version as well, you also have a slide out full keyboard, which you can see there. It doesn't have directional keys, and it is a little bit cramped. I think they could have made it a little bit nicer, but it's got pretty good travel, and it's definitely better than using an on-screen keyboard, especially with a screen this small. Speaking of the screen, I believe this is I should have probably looked this up before I started the video. 2.3 inches, maybe, I don't know, but it's quite a small screen, especially for a smartphone. And it lacks multi-touch. However, you can get customized versions of Android such as Mini CM7, which do allow multi-touch, although it is a little bit fiddly on a screen this small. There is no front-facing camera for Skype, but that is to be expected. And on the top you simply have a headphone jack with a little connector, I think that's for a specialised microphone, and a lock-unlock key, which is very small and a little fiddly to press, but it does mean that the phone doesn't wake up in your pocket. Okay, so I'll now go to talk a little bit about the software. Originally, when this phone was released, let me just turn the camera off here, it ran Android 1.6 Donut. However, there was a software update released by Sony to update this to Android version 2.1, and that is where this phone is firmly stuck if you want to go with official updates. This disappointed a lot of people, especially with being launched with 1.6 when I believe version 2.1 was out at the time, and as custom ROMs such as Mini CM7 and all the others like that, this phone is actually perfectly capable of running Gingerbread rather nicely, so it's a little bit disappointing that Sony didn't do that themselves. They've also customized the home screen quite a bit. Your widgets, instead of the traditional Android home screen, are in this scrolling kind of list here. You can only have one per page, and holding simply allows you to move them around like so into different categories. I think, particularly given the small screen size, this works well. I think if Sony had tried to add the full traditional Android experience onto here, it would have been a little bit fiddly. Launchers such as Launch Pro ADW do run perfectly fine on here, and when this was my primary phone I did run that, but looking back it probably is nicer to use Sony's launcher, because it is a little bit fiddly. Everything is kind of small, and the 320 by 240 resolution screen doesn't give you that much room for customizability anyway. You have your 4 main shortcuts here, which are customizable. These are defaultly set to messaging, music, your phone dialer and your contacts. And you get a few default widgets, which do look quite nice. Sony's done a good job of making its widgets. However, like I said, you can only have one per page, so it's not going to look overly fancy. To get to the home screen, you can either tap on this here or just swipe up, which I think is quite a nice little feature. As you can see there, the screen seems to be a little bit over responsive. There are definitely no response issues with the touchscreen on this. Sometimes you'll find it's a little bit too responsive if your fingers flail around a little bit while using your phone. There's the default assortment of Google apps pre-installed here. You have Google Mail, Maps, the Android Market. Sony have customized a few of their apps, like the album is now, I'll just show you actually. I've got no pictures on here, but they all come up in like a list, like a grid view, which I think personally is better than the 3D stock gallery. I think it works a little bit better. They've also added their own Play Now store, a Neo reader, which is a rather nice addition. Video app, which quite a few Android phones actually lack a dedicated video apps. You got Sony Ericsson's proprietary Timescape, which throws in all your Facebook and social networking feeds into one list, so you can flick through it with ease. There's also an FM radio built in, which is rather nice, and a separate email account. You do have Google Maps navigation. I've found it does work particularly well. There's very little lag. That all seems to work fine, but again, the screen size being this small, it's not ideal for use as a full-time GPS in your car. I've I've loaded a couple of apps on like Wii7 Music here, and I've also rooted this phone, so normally you won't have the super user root on installer, etc. Because this phone does come with a little bit of bloatware, like trial games that you can't remove and just hang around your home screen, so if you want to get rid of those, you can root your phone and get rid of those. You also have Sony's Track ID service, which is sort of like Shazam. You put your phone to music and it'll pretty accurately tell you what the song is. I've not had many problems with it. So that's the basic apps it comes with. They're arranged in a 3x3 grid. It's very, very finger friendly and rather intuitive and nice to use. Everything's very smooth. The 600 MHz processor has no problem just munching through all these. Next, we'll talk about the media on this device. I'll just go find an SD card. Be right back. Okay, so I've put some, put some media onto an SD card, and we'll try it out and see how it looks. So first thing I'll show you is the music player. It looks like this. You have over here your entire music library. You can sort by artists, smart playlists, and old tracks. It's not as in-depth as maybe some of you would like, but it's pretty good. You also have here the now playing your current playlist. And, controls along here, and you can scroll the little bar on the bottom to skip around in the track. What Sony were really pushing with this is I think it's called the infinity button. It basically shows you this page, and then it will find related YouTube videos. I can scroll along here, and content in the Play Now store. It's a neat little add-on, but it's not. Apart from the YouTube section, it isn't really all that useful, unless you wanted to find a video of the song or related videos, that kind of thing. So I'll just give you a quick demo of the sound quality here. Oh, sorry. Screen oversensitive, turning it around it. So as you can hear, it is lacking a little bit on the bass kind of side. But I have heard much worse sound quality from phones, so it's not all that bad. It reaches a nice high volume, it doesn't seem to distort all that much. Sound from the headphones is also pretty good as well. Obviously that depends on your headphones you use, but it's pretty good sounding. So music, definitely one thing this phone is useful for, apart from maybe the lack of sorting options and customizability in the player. It's pretty good for music. Next thing we'll try is the video. Now when I had this, I don't normally watch videos on my phone, I never actually properly tried out the video feature. I've just loaded up here a 720p HD video, and we'll see how it plays. Not at all. So yeah, this phone seems to be very picky about what videos it plays. I mean, 720p is asking a lot from a 600 MHz processor, but yeah, definitely not a phone if you're really into watching videos. It's okay for the occasional YouTube clip, but the particularly low resolution, as well as the file format miss support, it doesn't make this phone particularly great for watching videos. Photos, on the other hand, let's load up here. In fact, these are all videos in the gallery. This is a little product I was doing. I haven't actually got any photos to show you, but I could show you a snapshot of one of these videos, just to give you an idea of the picture quality of the screen. There you go. I don't know if you can see that, but pictures come up rather nice on this screen. It's rather clear, it's quite bright. I mean, obviously the low resolution doesn't help its media capabilities, but it's pretty pleasant. I mean, the small screen size, you know, does kind of take away from the resolution a little bit, so it's not too bad. Of course, you have the default Android pull-down notifications window as well. Now, if we take a quick look on the Android market, wait for this to load up here, I'm connected by Wi-Fi. You can see it uses the old style market interface here. I've not been able to successfully get it to update to Google Play. In all honesty, I haven't tried that hard, but it doesn't seem to automatically update. I would assume that's due to the outdated Android version, but it's still not a bad experience. It looks rather nice. Now, obviously, because this phone only has limited processing power, not all modern games or graphically intensive games or apps will run on here, but for the most part, everything seems to run fine. Let's just go and find a free app here. Yeah, let's have a look at some games. All games. Okay, we'll skip that and just get Xperia Hotels just for demonstration purposes. Normally this phone has no problems browsing the internet. It's just my Wi-Fi isn't the greatest, so you'll have to bear with that a second. But as you can see, the market browsing is pretty intuitive even in the outdated version of the market. If you go for a ROM such as Mini CM7, you will obviously get the full Google Play experience. Along with the... I'm not sure if you get the videos, but I'm pretty sure you get the books, although reading the books on a phone screen this small, it might do your eyes a little bit. Okay, there we go. Just a little bit of a glitch there, you know. So there you go, you can see after sorting out the glitch a little bit there, it works perfectly fine. The scrolling is you know, very smooth, and you can find yourself a hotel if you need to. So all the basic Android functionality is there, and to be honest, it's quite a nice phone. Most of the options Sony put on here are very limited. They've not gave you much to play around with, in the fact of the widgets being in a list. The camera options, which I can quickly show you, are also pretty basic. It does take a couple of seconds, no, I won't do that, for the camera to load, but it's not too bad. You can see your basic interface, so you got your flash options, switching between video and photos, and I believe that's, yeah, scenes. You have automatic macro, etc. This phone does have autofocus, so we'll just take a picture of my coffee here. So pictures taken with it do tend to look surprisingly good, actually. I was very impressed with the camera on this. Compare that, of course, to my Acer Liquid Express. This has a 5 megapixel camera, but the photos don't seem to have the same kind of clarity. So I was quite impressed with the photographic aspects of this phone. Anyway, I think it's about time we ended this review because it's ran way too long. I would say if you're looking for a small Android phone which covers all the basics, you basically don't want one of these massive, 4-inch HTCs, Samsung Galaxy S3 Mark 75 or whatever it is, then it's quite a nice phone to look for, especially since these are going very cheap on the used market. However, you do have to realise that it doesn't run the latest version of Android without you unlocking the bootloader and installing custom ROMs, and if you're not looking to do that, then I'd probably suggest getting the newer version of this, the Xperia Mini or the Mini Pro, not the X10 one. But it is quite a nice little phone. It's a little bit chunky, but it's quite light. So it's not a bad little phone. Anyway, that's been my review and personal opinion of the X10 Mini Pro. So thanks for watching, guys, and yeah, join us again soon for more videos and general nonsense. Thanks for watching, guys.